Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So inshallah we will continue talking about the massacre of Karbala. Just to give you a little bit of review, what we are going to talk about today or tonight. When Yazid came into power, Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu basically refused to give him oath of allegiance. He moved from Medina to Mecca. We talked about why did he move to Mecca. And then when he was in Mecca and the news became public that he has refused to give his oath of allegiance to Yazid, the people of Kofa became really excited and they were rejoiced, and they sent him letters after letters basically inviting him to come over to Kofa, and they wanted him to become his leader against their campaign against they wanted him to become their leader in their campaign against Banu Umayyas, or against the forces of Umayyas. Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu, in order to check if Kufa is ready to support him or not, sent his cousin Muslim bin Akeel there to check out whether it is worth for him to go there. Muslim bin Akeel, when he went there, he got an overwhelming support. In the first 2 weeks, 12,000 people, they came, gave their oath of allegiance to him. And like I said in my reminder before, that these 12,000 people, they were the leaders of their tribe. So basically, technically speaking, 40,000-50,000 people, the bulk of Kufa, they claim that they are in support of Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu. When Yazid heard about this, the beginning of uprising, he sent Ibn Ziyad to Kufa as the governor of the Kufa, and the first thing Ibn Ziyad did is that he arrested Hani bin Urwa, who was the host, who was hosting Muslim bin Akeel in his house, and he tortured Hani bin Urwa. As a result of that, Muslim bin Akeel decided to go and march towards the fortress of Ibn Ziyad, and basically camp outside the fortress of Ibn Ziyad and force Ibn Ziyad to set Hani bin Urwa free, and then finally to kill Ibn Ziyad. And when he made this announcement, when he asked his followers to come in arms and prepare for the battle, out of 12,000 people, only 4,000 came forward. And even those 4,000, in the morning they were 4,000, but by the time they prayed their Maghrib Salah, there were only 30 people behind him. And by the time the darkness has fallen, and he said his Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and he turned around, there were only 10 people left. And they were leaving in rows. And now this is the point that you need to understand, that all of these people, they were leaving in rows right in front of the eyes of Muslim bin Akeel radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And they are leaving because Ibn Ziyad is negotiating with every single tribe. He's sending them bribe. He's doing whatever he can. You move your people and I will give you this. You stop this and I will give you this. And all of these people, just a little bit of bribe, just a little bit of money, and they all dispersed. Now Muslim bin Akeel is really angry. He's extremely angry, and he's asking them that, how could you have done this to me? What are we going to do with these 10 people outside of the gate? So he decides to go back, and he decides basically to regroup, and spend his night in the quarters of Kinda. Kinda is one of the major tribes in Kufa, and they were one of the main supporters of Shi'an Ali. And in those days, the entire city was divided into tribes. So each tribe will live in a certain part or in a certain area of the city. So he left the fortress and he walked his way back to the quarters of Kinda with these 10 people. And subhanallah, in the cover of darkness, every single one of these 10 men, they also, as he's walking to the streets, every single one of these 10 men, they also left Muslim bin Akeel. And this is the cousin of Hussain radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This is the grandson of Ibn Talib. And these people, they abandoned him down to the last man. Literally, they abandoned him to the last man. And how long did it take? Just 12 hours, less than 12 hours. What did it require? A little bit of money, a little bit of bribe. That's all what it required. And they all left him. They all disappeared. They all left him until Muslim bin Akeel finds himself all alone, completely discarded by these people, without even a roof over his head, without any money, without any bread, without any water. He's literally penniless in a town that has promised him how many men? 40,000 men. He's literally penniless in that town. Now Muslim bin Akeel, obviously he's hungry, he doesn't have any food, he doesn't have any water. So after walking, after a while in the middle of the night, he decides to go to an anonymous store because he's tired, he's hungry, he doesn't have anything to eat, he's thirsty. So he decides to go to an anonymous door, put his tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he knocks on the door. And an old lady comes out. And he says to the old lady that I am a beggar. He doesn't even want to introduce himself as Muslim bin Akeel. He said, I am a beggar, need some water and food. This is the cousin of Hussein. He said, I am a beggar, I need some water and food. So this old lady, she brings out some water, some food, she gives it to him. And Muslim bin Akeel, he remains standing there. And that old lady said to him, shoo, go away. I've given you what I had. Go away. But clearly you can tell this is something much more than, he's not just a beggar. It's something much more than that. So Muslim bin Akeel, he decided to put his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He decided to risk it. And he said to the old lady, look, I'm Muslim bin Akeel and I need your help. Can you please help me? And he's literally asking help from an old lady in a city that has promised him 10,000, 40,000 people. So he's literally, because he has no other support, there is nothing that he can do. So he said, can you please help me? And that old lady takes pity on him and she says, okay, you come into my house and I will give you my protection and I will try to protect you as much as I can. So he goes into the house. Next morning, the son of that old lady, he comes into the house to visit his mother after his work. And he sees this man. Now there is a man in the house. So the old lady needs to explain why this man is in the house. So she says that please do not expose this man. He is Muslim bin Akeel and I have given him my protection. So please don't expose that man. But even the son is greedy for money. So he stays there for a few days. And then after a few days, after a couple of days, he makes an excuse that I need to go to the masjid to pray. And he goes to the masjid and he sees the men of Ibn Ziyad there. And he goes to the men of Ibn Ziyad and he says to them that, the person that we're looking for, Muslim bin Akeel, is in my house. Come and arrest him. Send your troops. And the next thing, Muslim bin Akeel knows that his whole house, the entire house, is surrounded by the convoy of Ibn Ziyad. He tries to fight them as much as he can, but it's only one person against the whole convoy. And they also threaten him to burn down the house. And he didn't want to cause any kind of inconvenience for this old lady, any kind of harm for that old lady. So he exits and he surrenders. Now, important point. One of the people in that convoy, who is very famous among the historians, but his name is not normally mentioned in this story. His name is Abdurrahman bin Muhammad bin Ash'as, Al-Ash'as, the famous Al-Ash'as. He's very well known to the historians. He is the leader of that convoy that came to arrest Muslim bin Akeel. He made a promise to Muslim bin Akeel that if you come out, if you surrender, I will not harm you. Even though later on he had to break his promise, but at the time he made this promise, Muslim bin Akeel came out and he surrendered. Now Muslim bin Akeel made him promised one thing, made Ibn Ash'as promised one thing. There is a lot of pros and cons when it comes to Ibn Ash'as. He has lots of pros and cons, and the historians have a lot to talk about him. But one thing that we all can say for sure, and there is a unanimous agreement among all the historians, is that Ibn al-Ash'ar has a soft corner for Ahlul Bayt. And that's why Muslim bin Akeel made him promise one thing. He said, whatever happens to me, you can do whatever you want to do with me, but get this message to Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. Tell him that Muslim bin Akeel has been taken as a prisoner, and for all he knows, he's going to be killed. And this is my message to Hussein. My message to Hussein is, go back, don't come to Kufa. Get away, don't come to Kufa. The people of Kufa will betray you. Leave, run for your life. This is my message to him. And please get this message to him as soon as possible, because he's already on his way to Kufa. Because you remember, when Muslim bin Akeel came to Kufa, and when he saw the excitement of the people, and 12,000 people within 2 weeks' time gave him their oath of allegiance, gave him their support, he sent a letter to Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu telling him what? Come immediately, don't delay. We are going to fight against the forces of Umayyads, and the people of Kufa will support us. They will stand behind us. So that was the letter he sent to him. So he said, get this message to Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu as soon as possible, because I have already sent him a letter before, and he must be on his way. Tell him to go back to Makkah, go back to Medina, don't set your foot in Kufa, because the people of Kufa will deceive you, they will desert you, so go back to Makkah or Medina. Ibn al-Ash'ar said to him that he promised that he will deliver this letter, he will deliver this message. He said, this is something that you can have from at least this one thing you can have from me. I will deliver this promise, and we will see later on in the story that he did deliver this message to Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Now later on that day, after Muslim bin Akeel goes to the governor, who is Ibn Ziyad, he tortures him, obviously he beats him up, he is rude and harsh to him, and then on 9th day of Zul Hijjah, 60th Hijrah, 9th day of Zul Hijjah, 60th Hijrah, we are only how many months away from Muharram? Only 1 month away. 10th of Muharram, 61 Hijrah, the massacre of Karbala is going to take place. So we are only 1 month away. 9th day of Zul Hijjah, the holiest day of the entire year, the cousin of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the grandson of Abi Talib, the son of the cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was taken to the highest point of the fortress and then he was thrown down to his death. He was killed in a humiliating manner in front of the entire city, in front of the people of the entire city that have promised him their allegiance. And before it is mentioned in our sources, in the books of our history, that before he died, the last words that he said, before he said his kalima and tahleel and shahadat and istighfar, the last words he said is that, Ya Allah, you be our judge on the day of judgment, you be the judge between me and these Shias, between me and my followers. Remember, again, I have to make it very, very clear because we are doing these recordings. When I say Shia, at that time, Shia was only a political movement. It was only a political movement. There was no theology involved. There was no aqidah involved. There was no fiqh involved. There was no issue with the Sahaba. It was just a political movement. So he said, Ya Allah, you be our judge. You be the judge on the day of judgment. You be the judge between me and my followers. They have deserted me. They have deceived me. They promised and they promised and they promised. And today I'm standing here and then I'm about to be thrown down. I'm standing here with not even a single man here to defend me. So Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he is now on his way. Muslim bin Akeel has been killed, but he has no way of knowing this. Because remember, this is the time before the age of phone, media, internet. Our historians they say that it will almost take 2 weeks from Kofa to Makkah to deliver a message to Makkah, from Kofa to almost take 2 weeks to get the message there. The only message Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu has got by far is what? Come immediately. Come immediately. Do not delay. Come immediately. So he said, Khalas, he packed his bags and he left. He has no idea what is happening in Kufa. He has no idea that the people of Kufa have betrayed my cousin and my cousin has been killed. And the host of my cousin, Hani bin Urwa, he's not only killed but crucified in the city center. And there are other key players, they were also killed and their dead bodies were put in the city center so that everyone can see. So the message is quite clear. This is going to happen to you if you go against us. This is going to happen to you if you go against us. Now you should remember, Ibn Ziyad entered Kufa with how many people? 17 people. Just 17 people. He doesn't have any army with him. He doesn't have any police force with him. He doesn't have any group with him. Yes, the infrastructure of the city decided to follow him, but he doesn't have any group. This was an instantaneous thing. Yazid sent Ibn Ziyad with a small entourage, but this was the fear of Ibn Ziyad. This was the fear that this might happen to you if you disobey. What is going to happen to you, or this might happen to you if you disobey Ibn Ziyad, that caused the Kufans to disappear when they were needed the most. And also a little bit of bribery and money as well. But it was the fear of Ibn Ziyad. So Muslim bin Akeel, he died on the 9th day of Zul Hijjah, or either 9th day of Zul Hijjah or the 10th day of Zul Hijjah. And all of these things are happening where? In Kufa. Let's go back to Makkah now. Who is in Makkah? Hussein. What is happening in Makkah? Muslim bin Akeel died on the 9th day of Zul Hijjah. He has already sent a letter to Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, come immediately, do not delay. Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu makes the preparation and then he makes an announcement in Makkah. Remember, I told you, Makkah is a safer place. Umayyads do not have that much control over Makkah and the people of Makkah. Why? Who is there in Makkah? Not Ahlul Bayt. Who is in Makkah? Abdullah bin Zubair radiallahu ta'ala. His supporters are there. And remember, Abdullah bin Zubair decided to revolt. He decided to rebel. So Makkah is a safer place and he can make such kind of announcement. So he makes an announcement that I am leaving Makkah. Now remember this, every single Sahabi who was alive at the time, they advised Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu against this. Every single one. There are so many narrations in the books of Ahadith, not only in the books of history. In the books of Ahadith, there are so many narrations, including Ibn Abbas radiallahu, and especially Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala. Because Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala, you guys need to understand that he is from Ahlul Bayt. He's not just a Sahabi. He's from Ahlul Bayt. His father is Abbas radiallahu ta'ala. Abbas radiallahu ta'ala is Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's uncle. Abdullah bin Abbas radiallahu ta'ala is Ali radiallahu ta'ala's first cousin. So Abdullah bin Abbas is the uncle of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. Not only Abdullah bin Abbas, Abdullah bin Umar, Jabir bin Abdullah, he especially comes to Makkah and warns Hussein radiallahu ta'ala. Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu ta'ala. All of these Sahabas who were in Hijaz at that time, they came to Makkah, they advised Hussein radiallahu ta'ala against it, because basically this is a preparation that now there is going to be another war. That's the preparation, because if you're going to Kufa, the people of Kufa are going to stand behind you, and on the other side there are the forces of Umayyads. What's going to happen? There is going to be a war. And Sahaba, every single Sahabi was against this idea. They've been through enough in Jamal and Safin, they've been through enough, and they all felt that Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu is making a rash decision. And they all felt that Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu was very young when Jamal and Safin happened. He wasn't old enough to understand the dangers of the war. So they said to Hussein, Hussein, calm down. This is not the way to go forward. You're going to cause destruction. You're not going to bring about any good. Calm down. But Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu he remained insistent. He basically showed them all the letters. He said, look at all of these letters. All of these letters came from the people of Iraq, came from the people of Kufa. And he showed them two bags, not the bags that you guys carry or I carry, not those bags. Those big, huge bags that they put on the camels. These leather cases, the camel has it on one side, one bag on one side and another bag on another side. These huge bags. He showed them all the letters. He said, look at all of these letters. And Jabir bin Abdullah, Ibn Sa'ad radiallahu ta'ala anhu mentioned in Tabaqat, Jabir bin Abdullah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, don't you know that these people have betrayed your father? When your father was the Khalifa and he was in Kufa, he had problems. Your own father had problems with these people. And now you're going to these people, relying on these. Now you're going to Kufa, relying on these people. And Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, no, look at all of these. Surely I have their support. Look at all of these letters. They're not going to do this with me. They have done this with my father, but they're not going to do this with me. So Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he left Makkah and he went to Kufa on the 8th of Zil-Hijjah. Just one day before Muslim bin Akeel was killed. One day before that. And he left for Kufa, he left Makkah, he left for Kufa, and he left with his younger brothers, because remember, Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu married after Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu had children younger than Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The most famous among all of them is Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya. He's a brother of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, but not through, if you guys are still awake, not through Fatima radiallahu. That's why he's called Ibn al-Hanafiya, because his mother is from the tribe of Banu Hanifa. That's the oldest one after Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu and the most famous. And there are other younger brothers of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And he also took some of his nephews from other brothers. So he took the sons of Hassan radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He took the sons of Muslim bin Akeel, who had just been killed in Kufa, but they don't know about it. And they all are very young. So he took the sons of Muslim bin Akeel, and he also took the sons of Abdullah bin Ja'far, the great Ja'far radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He took the sons of Abdullah bin Ja'far. It is said in our history, in the books of our history, that the entire entourage of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he left Makkah, was consisted of, the entire entourage of Hussein radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when he left Makkah, consists of 100 people, almost over 100 people, including women and children. So inshallah, what happens after that, I know a lot of people are dozing off. So inshallah, what happens after that, we'll talk more about it inshallah on Tuesdays. But Tuesday is going to be a little bit longer. I will keep Fridays shorter, but I will keep Tuesdays longer inshallah, because the idea is to finish the whole series before I will leave inshallah for Pakistan, which is 26th of October. So inshallah, it's going to take almost 3 more sessions, I believe. Almost 3 more sessions. Tuesday, Friday, and then Tuesday again. Inshallah, we leave it. And the idea is not just to give you the story, but actually the conclusions that our historians and ulama have driven from that story. These are the most important conclusions that I want to share with all of you. And hopefully those conclusions will answer many of your questions, inshallah. So hopefully you will come and participate. Inshallah, you'll be